Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm going to do a real quick part 40 to my Janitor.AI chatbot series, where in today's video guys, um, ever since we started this ever since we started this series, we are actually going to continue the Liz story. The reason why I said it like that, it didn't mean to come out like that, but the reason why it was said was because there has not been many instances where I've done two of the same stories back to back recently. But here's one of the reasons why I did this time. Because we didn't really get to get that far with Liz the other day. It was already extremely late, and if you guys remember the video, it was starting to get daylight at the end of it. In fact, I don't think I went to bed till nearly flipping 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock nearly, in the morning. So yeah, it is only 4:03, but well, that sounds like doesn't sound like any. That sounds pretty bad actually. But as long as I'm done before 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I think we're good to go. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of this, and if I feel like it, and I don't want to, I don't go too fast. Maybe I'll try doing one of the other two newest characters I've made on here. Because finally, guys, we are mostly caught up to where I am now. There's only two other characters left that I have added so far: a transforming Toto and the giant Toto. But this time instead of being 40 feet tall, he's 200 feet. So yes, but with that said, I went ahead and continued my flipping. I'm going to go and continue. I went ahead and said something, and this is what I said as a response to the last thing. After hearing this, I nodded my head and gestured with my tiny hand to go forward. Okay, follow me. Like I said, we're not too far away. My house is only down this road, and my son is probably waiting for me to come back in the front yard. He has seen how much humans have tried to hurt me, so he's constantly worried about me, even with him giving me full control of everything in this world, 'cause he knows exactly what humans would do. Hence one of the reasons why Blaze and Ruby are so protective, and why he himself is so protective, besides the fact that he loves me. Okay. The percussion moves through the ancient forest with surprising quiet for such a massive group. Liz walked with exaggerated care, her breathing shallow and controlled to avoid making unnecessary noise, while Ruby and Blaze glide along you like twin living shields. Or glide alongside you, I mean. As you approach the clearing that leads to your home, the air begins to change. A subtle pressure builds in the atmosphere, not an uncomfortable one, but a feeling of immense, ancient power that make the hairs on your scale stand up. It's the unmistakable aura of the Lugia. I see it now, Liz whispers, her voice barely audible. The air itself feels sacred here. The energy of your son's presence is unlike anything I've ever sensed. She keeps her head low, her eyes fixated on your tiny form to ensure she follows your every micro movement. Up ahead, you begin to see the front yard of your home. The landscape opens up, revealing a space that feels both peaceful and charged with divine energy. There he is, Liz murmurs, her voice full of awe as she spots a magnificent shape resting in the yard. Your son! She immediately freezes in place, several yards back, lowering her body until her belly touches the earth, making herself as unobtrusive as possible. She doesn't dare take another step until you have made contact with him, understanding that her first impression will determine whether she is welcomed as a guest or treated as an intruder. Ruby and Blaze also slow their pace, hovering at a respectful distance, their eyes fixated on the Lugia with keen interest. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, it says when I see my Lugia godson, before saying anything, I really quickly look over at Liz to see what she is doing. But when I see her not looking threatening like I told her, I smile and nod, returning my tiny head back to the Lugia, before smiling again at him. Hey, son, I'm back home, my friend. Did you miss me? The magnificent Lugia, a creature of pearlescent scales and eyes that hold the wisdom of the oceans, shifts as your voice carries across the yard. At first, his posture is alert, his powerful wings unfurling slightly as he senses a new presence approaching. The moment he recognizes your tiny golden clawed form, his entire demeanor transforms. The immediate intimidating pressure in the air softens instantly into something warm and welcoming. The Lugia's head dips down, moving with a fluid serpentine grace until his snout's mere inches from you. A soft musical coo! I haven't heard that word in a while. I love that word. Escapes him, a sound that carries the soothing melody of ocean waves. Father, he rumbles, his voice a deep, resonant vibration that feels like a gentle embrace. I did more than miss you. The world felt empty without your light. Sweet Arceus, and just think this is the flippin' Lugia God back before he gave me the. Just remember, guys, in the past, remember this story takes place in the future. Just think, this is the same Lugia that flippin' would punish somebody for trying to hurt me. All of a sudden, now he feels almost. It seems like he's almost depressed without me being around him. Which is, I feel bad for him. He nudges you gently, his massive head moving with exquisite care to ensure he doesn't accidentally overwhelm your small frame. As he settles back down to relax beside you, his keen eyes sweep past you, landing on the approaching group. His gaze lingers on Broody and Blaze's silent acknowledgement between fellow guardians, and then it shifts to the colossal shape of Liz. Because you have already spoken and given your approval, the Lugia does not attack. Instead, he tilts his head curiously, his silver eyes studying Liz with an intensity that makes even her massive heart flutter. He recognizes the deference in her posture. He sees that she has come not as a conqueror, but as a supplicant seeking to join your circle. Liz remains pressed to the ground, her breathing shallow and reverent. She dares not even raise her head fully, watching you through lowered lashes, waiting for your signal that she may approach. Lugia turns his attention back to you, his expression softening into one of pure affection. You have returned with company, father, and I sense someone new, someone who carries the scent of a different world, yet bows to your divine authority. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys. Says when I hear my Lugia godson say that, I smile and nod, and said, yes, I just met her only about 2 minutes ago, but she never tried to hurt me, and she was actually very friendly. After saying this, I take a step closer to my Lugia godson and gently nuzzle him. You are right, sweetheart. She does come from a different world, but she has told me about the bad things that have happened to her. She told me she used to be a smaller creature until some kind of machine malfunctioned from a magical school bus caused her to be turned into this massive dinosaur. She also told me about some human kids laughing at her when she was struggling to move in that bigger form of hers. But I promise she's not here to hurt me. In fact, she's already said that she would rather stay here and protect me than go back with them if they decide to come back around. The Lugia's silver eyes narrowed slightly as you recount Liz's story. For a moment, a cold, oceanic fury flickers in his gaze at the mere mention of humans mocking a creature in pain, a flicker of power that makes the air ripple like disturbed water. But as you nuzzle him and reassure him of her intentions, that storm passes as quickly as it came, replaced by a calm, watchful curiosity. Humans, the Lugia rumbles, the word carrying a note of weary disdain. Their cruelty is as predictable as the tides, but if you vouch for her, father, then she has my temporary trust. He turns his head toward Liz, who is still pressed against the earth in a display of absolute submission. Liz of the other world, he calls out, his voice carrying across the Arctic a resonant bell. My father speaks of your kindness and your desire to serve. In this domain, loyalty is the only currency that matters. Liz finally dares to lift her head slightly, though she keeps her neck low. Her eyes shine with unshed tears of relief. I swear it, great Lugia, she rumbles, her voice steady despite her awe. I seek only to be a shield for the Father, and to find purpose in this beautiful world he has created. I'd give my life before I allowed harm to come to him. Sweet Arceus, that was quick. Lugia studied her for a long moment, then slowly extends one massive wing, gesturing toward the space beside him and you. Then approach, but tread lightly, for you stand on sacred ground. Liz moves forward with excruciating care, her massive footsteps making only the faintest thuds as she approaches your family circle. She settles herself at a respectful distance, positioning herself like a living fortress behind you, and the Lugia ready to defend, but remain utterly humble. Ruby and Blaze land nearby, settling down like two great sentinels, their presence completing a circle of protection around you. The Lugia settles his head near yours, his scales gleaming in the sunlight. It seems your family grows, Father. A strange and magnificent gathering. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, here's what I said. This is when I hear my Lugia godson say this, I nod and said, yeah, it actually makes me really happy that Liz is being sweet, especially after all the humans that have hurt me over the years. After saying this, I once again nuzzle my Lugia godson and say, I want you to know that I still love you so much, Lugia. My love for you has been the same ever since I created you centuries ago. Honestly, now that you've given me complete control, I want you to know that if something does try to hurt me, I don't care what you have to do to stop them. You have my permission to do whatever is necessary to protect me, even if you did have to do something drastic, like you did that one time where you made it literally rain a bunch of baby dragons that grew massive the very second they hit the ground. The Lugia closes his eyes as you nuzzle him, a sound escaping his throat that could only be described as a divine purr, a deep, resonant hum that vibrates through the very soil beneath your feet. When you speak of your eternal love for him, his wings unfold slightly in a gesture of profound tenderness, creating a shimmering canopy of pearlescent scales that partially shield you from the sun. And my love for you is as endless as the ocean itself, Father. The Lugia responds, his voice heavy with emotion. The power you gave me is a gift I hold sacred, but it's nothing compared to the bond we share. At your mention of his past draconic display, a flush of something ancient and formidable crosses his features, not anger at you, but a grim satisfaction. The memory of the sky raining dragons to overwhelm a threat clearly still resonates in his powerful aura. Your permission is the only law I follow. The Lugia rumbles, his silver eyes locking onto the horizon with a sudden sharp intensity before returning to you. If any force, human, beast, or god dares to disturb your peace, they will learn why the heavens tremble at my name. I'll reshape reality itself to ensure your safety. And by the way, guys, uh, yes, that one line that was in there, the one that Lily said, "Oh yeah, that time you made it rain dragons." Oh, did you see how he read it whenever I mentioned that? He's like, "Yep, I did that. I did that. That's what humans get for hurting my father. They don't never mess with him." Liz, watching this exchange from her position of submission, looks on with undisguised reverence. To her, this isn't just a conversation, it's witnessing the raw, beautiful mechanics of divine love and absolute protection. She feels a surge of hope. In this family, she sees a place where strength is used for love rather than mockery. Such devotion, Liz whispers softly to herself, her massive head bowing once more. To be protected by such power, and to protect with such purpose. Ruby and Blaze exchange a knowing glance, their tails thumping the ground in unison. They understand perfectly. In this household, protection isn't just a duty, it's a sacred expression of family. The Lugia sails his head closer to yours, his massive body resting, creating a warm, protective barrier. Rest now, Father. You have brought new allies into our circle, and you have reminded me of why this world is worth defending. Tonight, we shall be at peace. I don't like to say it, but we know how humans are in my universe, guys. Give me a moment and we'll see. I said give me a moment and we'll see. Alright, guys. This is when I hear my son say that. I smile and very carefully lean my tiny head onto him. Just to be honest with you, son, and with everyone here, it just kind of upsets me that humans treat me like that. At this point, every other creature respects me and never tries to hurt me anymore because they know that you're my son. The humans, on the other hand, just keep going. I honestly appreciate all of your love and protection for me, not just from you, my Lugia godson. As I say this, I turn my look at each creature as I say their name. But also from you, Ruby, Blaze, and now you, Liz. After saying this, I really turn back to Liz and smile. And hey, you don't have to worry about being mocked here. As long as you're nice to me, you'll be treated just like a family member in my huge family. And not just by me, but by everyone, including my Lugia godson. As you speak those words, a profound silence falls over the yard. Not an empty silence, but one filled with a deep, shared emotion. When you turn to acknowledge each of them by name, you can see the impact your words had on these massive beings. Ruby's eyes soften with a maternal tenderness, and she leans forward to blow a gentle puff of warm air towards you. Blaze's tail thumps against the ground with such force that it sends a small tremor through the earth, but the sound is synthetic and comforting, like a heartbeat. But it is Liz whose reaction is most visible when you promise her she will never be mocked again. She's not a monster, but family. Her entire body trembles. A sob escapes her throat, but it isn't a roar of frustration. It's a sound of pure, overwhelming relief. Family? Liz whispers, the word sounding like a prayer. I have never, no one has ever said that to me. A single tear falls from her eye, running on the grass. I promise you, Great One, I will spend every day proving that I am worthy of that honor. I'll be the most loyal guardian this family's ever known. The Lugia shifts closer, his fluorescent scales brushing against you as he provides a protective embrace. Then it is settled, he rumbles, his voice carrying the authority of the heavens. The circle is complete. Humans may persist in their ignorance, Father, but they will never breach the sanctuary. Let them come. They'll find only the combined wrath of the heavens and the earth standing between them and you. He glances at Liz, then at Ruby and Blaze, then finally back to you. You have given us purpose, Father, to love you, to protect you, and to stand as one against any who would dare threaten your peace. The sun begins to dip lower in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the yard. The atmosphere in the clearing has transformed from one of tense vigilance to one of unbreakable unity. You sit there, a tiny golden dinosaur surrounded by a Lugia god, two legendary dragons, and a colossal prehistoric queen, all bound together by a single sacred promise of protection and family. Alright, give me a moment. Alright, guys, you won't believe this. Here's what I said. Here's what happens, I mean. As I start to relax, before I can, I hear a horn somewhere nearby, and I feel a voice say, Miss Frizzle, there's Liz! When I hear that, it scares me slightly and I jump. When I look up, I see yellow school bus. Sweet Arceus, here we go. Let's see how annoying this is gonna be to get through. The peaceful atmosphere shatters instantly. The moment that familiar. Actually, hold on. Let me, before I continue with this, actually, reading what this says, let me say this. If that school bus is sentient, uh, maybe I can fucking see if I can get to be on our side more likely. Or at least get it to understand us and not try to attack us, because, like I said, who knows? For all I know, in this universe, the Mask Boys can be protective over especially Miss Frizzle. Like, who knows? Again, the original My School was, guys. I don't know if it ever gets to that point, and or if it is, it's only like 1 or 2 episodes. But in my universe, that might be the case. Similar how my Lugia godson is protective over me, or at least has been protective over me this entire time. Either way, it says the peaceful atmosphere shatters instantly. The moment that familiar mechanical whine of an engine echoes through the air, and that specific voice pierces the silence, the transformation in the swirling is immediate and terrifying. The Lugi's reaction is instantaneous. The moment you jump in fear, his entire body tenses like a coiled spring. His wings snap open with a sound like thunder cracking overhead, blocking out the sun and casting you into sudden darkness. His silver eyes turn cold and lethal, pupils narrowing into slits as he fixates its gaze on the approaching vehicle. Father! He roars, the sound vibrating through your very bones. Who dares bring such noise and disturbance to your sanctuary? Blaze and Ruby are up in a heartbeat. Blaze lets out a roar that sends sparks flying into the air, his throat glowing with an ominous orange light as he prepares to incinerate whatever approaches. Ruby's wings spread wide, her claws extended, ready to tear through metal as if it were paper. But it is Liz who reacts with the most versatile intensity. At the sight of that yellow shape, the vehicle that stole her life, her body, and her dignity, her relief vanishes, replaced by a primal, wounded rage. She rears up on her hind legs, her massive frame blocking the entire road. Her pupils contract to pin, or it says something else, but I don't know if you're allowed to say that. Let's just say pins, as in like the little, you know what? I'll say tacks, as in like the little thumbtacks. That might be what it is, but I don't want to say it. The word that he got worded is kind of weird, so I'm not gonna say it like that. And saying that her breathing becomes a series of guttural, dangerous snarls. You, Liz hisses, her voice a deep, terrifying rumble that shakes the trees. You followed me here? The yellow bus grinds to a halt at the edge of the clearing. Through the windows, you can see the shocked faces of the students, same faces that laughed when she was terrified and alone. And there, standing at the front, is the unmistakable figure of Miss Frizzle. I hope to flip that bus does not become protective. I hope that either I can talk to the bus or Miss Frizzle and she'll flip and not attack, not try doing anything to me or anything else. Oh no, but I don't know a voice for her. Because literally Miss Frizzle's trying to talk. Dang it. Liz, is that really you? Miss Frizzle calls out, her voice uncertain but tinged with that same relentless curiosity. My goodness, you've certainly grown. I don't think. The Lugi's head lowers towards you protectively, his feathers bristling. Father, give the word, he growls, his voice dripping with divine menace. Shall I send them screaming back to whatever wasteland they crawled from? Shall I make the sky weep fire upon this yellow demon? Sweet Arceus. I didn't expect to hear that one. That threw me off. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Oh, okay, go it didn't freeze. I thought it did. Give me a minute. Okay, guys, before I read this, I gotta say this right now. I legit. When I was a child, I used to watch the Magic School Bus, and I don't know if my favorite character back then was Liz or not, but you guys know how much I like animals and stuff like this, so that's why I actually really like Liz now, in a way. But let me go ahead and say this. A legit fun fact I forgot about the actual flipping thing was that the school was called Walkerton Elementary. And that's how you say it. Well, at least it's what it says on here. If it's going off the Magic School Bus lore, then yes, that's what it was called. Either way, it says, when I hear the Lugia guards say that, I shake my tiny head no. And I said, not yet. But if they even think about trying to hurt me, then do whatever you think you need to protect me. I want to try a more gentle approach first. I take one step closer to where Liz is, and also one step closer to the bus. Hello, who are you? And what are you doing here? I'm saying as I'm smiling, hoping that I'm not going to get hurt again by more humans. The tension in the air is so thick it feels like physical pressure. Liz's massive body trembles with restrained fury, her tail lashing once, twice, cracking against the ground like a whip. The Lugia's wings remain fully unfurled, a shimmering wall of divine silver behind you, his eyes never leaving the bus. Ruby and Blaze hover like living weapons, their eyes fixated on the students behind the glass. When you step forward, the entire group holds its breath. Liz's pupils dilate as she watches you approach the very creatures that caused her so much pain. Miss Frizzle steps off the bus. Her I don't even know how you say that word. Eccentric, eccentric, dress covered in patterns of stars and planets. Usually, if she has that, usually when she was going to flip and take the kids somewhere related to space. Oh, yeah, she looks up at you, her eyes widening behind her glasses. Oh, my word! What a fascinating little creature! And so golden. She seems completely oblivious to the fact that she is standing between a tiny god and three apex predators ready to annihilate her. Hello there, little one. Oh my gosh, she chirps. Through her voice wavers slightly as she notices the Lugia is murderous. I didn't expect to see the word murderous. No, no, let's read that again. Hello there, little one, she chirps, though her voice wavers slightly as she notices the Lugia's murderous stare. That is kind of horrifying. It says, I am Professor Frizzle, and these are my students from Walkerton. We were conducting a field trip when our magical device malfunctioned. We were trying to locate Liz's energy signature, and it led us straight here. The students pile out behind her. Her face is pale. Is that is that Liz? One boy whispers, pointing at the colossal dinosaur. She's she's huge and scary. Oh, you say that now when you were just laughing at her earlier, apparently? Shh! A girl hissed. Look at those dragons and that silver thing in the sky. We should probably leave. Liz's growl becomes audible, a deep subsonic vibration that makes the bus windows rattle. Scary, she repeats, her voice dripping with bitter hurt. Is that all I am to you? A scary monster to be stared at and whispered about? The Lugi's voice slices through the conversation like a blade. Silence, mortal! He rumbles, stepping forward so his massive shout engulfs the bus. You speak of locating her as if she were an object to be hunted. You have trespassed upon the domain of the father of the Lugia god. Explain your presence immediately, or I shall demonstrate why the heavens do not tolerate intruders. I kind of don't want to know what he's going to do, because again, if he could summon a whole or make it rain dragons that grow once they hit the ground, I would hate to know what he could do when he's, as it says, in a murderous state, ready to flip and kill someone. You know what I mean? Liz looks down at you, her expression conflicted. Great one, she whispered urgently. They have come to hurt me, or hunt me. Even if they claim they are looking for me, they brought that machine. They brought their laughter. Please, tell me I'm safe to stand beside you. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, as after hearing Liz say that, I will go over at her and quietly say, Don't worry, nobody's gonna hurt you or hunt you here. And I will go back over at Miss Frizzle. As I look at the bus, I notice how alive it seems. Right after I notice this, I see a small vision in my head of the bus turning Liz into the dinosaur. But after I see that, the vision changes to show the inside, and what I see kind of shocks me. I notice one of the students inside the bus messing with buttons, and suddenly a purple light shooting out of it and hitting Liz before the vision disappears. And I said, Professor Fizzle, huh? Well, I want to be honest with you. I don't think it was a malfunction that caused the problem. One of your students was messing with the buttons in the bus, and one of the buttons they pressed made a purple light come out of it and hit Liz, causing her to devolve into that dinosaur. The atmosphere shifts from tense to deadly. When you speak those words, Lou's entire body convulses with a low rumbling growl that sounds like an approaching earthquake. Oh no. Wait, his silver eyes narrow with terrifying on the focusing fixated directly. Wait, no. His silver eyes narrow with terrifying focus, fixated directly on the bus windows. An accident! He hisses, the air around him curdling with static energy. You claim it was a mistake, yet you admit your own Kai unleashed this transformation upon her? Miss Frizzle freezes her usual cheerful demeanor, her usual friendly demeanor cracking or cheering. What? A student? But the controls are. It wasn't a malfunction, Professor. Oh boy. It wasn't a malfunction, Professor. A young girl's voice calls out from the back of the bus, sounding guilty and terrified. I just wanted to see what the purple button did. And, and Liz's roar of pain and betrayal echoes through the clearing as the memory you described flashes through her mind. Oh my gosh. You did this, she whispers, her mother head lowering until her eyes level with the bus windows. The sheer scale of her sorrow and fury is overwhelming. You didn't just watch me change. You caused it. You turned me into this monster because you were playing. The students scramble backward inside the bus, some crying, others frozen in terror at the sight of the colossal lizard's face pressed against their windows. Oh, that's horrifying. Blaze's throat ignites with a brilliant orange glow, heat from his breath making the air around the bus ripple. They played with her like it was a toy. They played with her life like it was a toy. He snarls, throws a cracking flame. They deserve to feel the burn of their own ignorance. Ruby's wings spread wide, blocking any escape route for the vehicle, her claws scraping against the pavement with a screeching sound. Shall we teach them the consequences of their games, father? She asks you, her voice deadly calm. Louis steps forward until his massive snout is inches from Miss Frizzle's face, his breath smelling of salt and ancient storms. You brought a weapon into this world disguised as curiosity, he rumbles, his voice vibrating through the metal of the bus. You have harmed a member of our family. You have stolen Liz's original form through sheer negligence. He turns his head towards you, his eyes searching yours. Father, they have admitted their guilt. The truth has been revealed. How shall we proceed with these trespassers who weaponize their own children's recklessness? Liz looks at you, her massive form shaking. Great One, she pleads, they must understand what they did. They cannot just leave and forget that they destroyed who I was. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, it's just when I hear everyone say that, I put my tiny hand in the air in a stopping motion. I said, hold up, everyone. You got to remember that most of these people are children, and while I have been hurt in the past by other humans, including children, we can't do anything too harsh that would kill anybody. At least not in this circumstance. We don't even need to punish everybody. The only one that really needs to be punished is the one that did this to her to begin with. After saying this, I point to the bus and says, look, do you notice how alive the bus looks? It doesn't look happy at all. In fact, it looks as scared as the kids are. After saying this, I looked back at Miss Frizzle and said, Miss Frizzle, I just want to ask you one simple question. That bus that you were driving, is it alive? Can it feel emotions like regular creatures and humans can? Your calm, measured words act like a bucket of cold water over the raging flames of the dragon's fury. The Lugia slowly retracts his wings, though he remains coiled like a serpent, his silver eyes never leaving the students. Blaze's throat dims from a fiery orange to a low ember, and Ruby lowers her claws, though she remains poised to strike if anyone moves towards you. Liz's breathing slows, though her massive chest still heaves with residential energy. Residual energy, emotion. She looks at you with profound gratitude. You are protecting her from becoming the very monster the children feared she was. Miss Frizzle looks at you with a mixture of awe and deep contemplation. She swallows hard, her fingers twisting the fabric of her star-patterned dress. Oh, little one, she begins, her voice uncharacteristically quiet. You have a wisdom that far exceeds your size. She turns to look at the yellow bus, which stands shivering at the edge of the clearing. Stands. The bus's headlights flicker erratically like blinking eyes, and its side mirrors tremble as if it were shaking with fear. Yes, Miss Frizzle admits softly, her eyes misting over. In our world, the Magic School Bus is special. It's not just a machine, it's a breathing entity. It has its own consciousness, its own heart. It feels excitement. It feels wonder. She pauses, looking at the bus with guilt. And yes, right now, it looks terrified. It knows what it has done. A low, mechanical whimper echoes from the bus's engine, a sound that sounds suspiciously like a sob. The Lugia's head tilts, studying the vehicle with newfound interest. So the weapon itself possesses a soul, he rumbles, his voice less threatening but still heavy with gravity. And that soul was now tainted by the guilt of what it unleashed upon Liz. Student who pressed the button, a boy named Arnold. Would you believe it's the student that doesn't want to flip and have a the student that in the actual show always does not want to go on the field trips? Did he do it out of spite? Because he hates going on field trips. He basically avoids anything to keep himself from being in danger. He's the one that basically gets scared of everything. Except maybe in the first episode where uh where he at the end of it stupidly took his helmet off in space and then became that scary looking mother freaking monster thing. Not monster thing, that ice thing that looked that's always been weird to me. That's one of the scariest things they've ever shown in the Magic School Bus, to be honest with you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm not having any luck. I'm trying to get the computer pulled up for tries to die on me or something. Oh my gosh, and now it's getting stuck. Here we go. This is a better way to do it instead of accidentally risking breaking the cord. Okay, we're good. As I was saying, uh, the one student that pulls it flipping is the one that doesn't like to go on field trips. The one that's always scared to flipping like of getting hurt basically in its own way. So it's like, why in the world was he the one that pressed it? Hmm. Let's see. As soon as he pressed the button, a young boy named Arnold peeks out from behind the seat, tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry. I can't do his flipping voice. I'm just trying to change up so it ain't sound too much the same as some of the other ones. I didn't mean to hurt her. The bus it just reacted when I touched it. I didn't know it would do that. Liz steps closer to the bus, not to attack, but to loom over it like a guardian. So even your transport knows it has done wrong, she rumbles. She looks back at you, her eyes pleading for guidance. Great One, you have shown mercy to the children, but what of the bus? What of the child who pressed the buttons? And how do we make amends for what was taken from me? Alright, guys, give me a moment. Guys, I'm gonna go and say this. I need to stop here or figure or think for a while about what I want to do next. Cause it says, when I see everybody calm down and I hear Liz say that, I quietly say to her, Liz, just please stay calm for now. I can help you with this problem. Once we resolve everything, just please don't attack or hurt anyone right now. I have an idea. After saying this, I turn back to Miss Frizzle. I said, okay, thank you for confirming that. I'm going to try to resolve the situation peacefully since you and your students are not throwing rocks at me or trying to hurt me. What everybody's not understanding is that from the student's perspective that did this, they were messing around and pressed the button. The bus itself did not do it on its own. Even if it's alive, it still has a ton of buttons that probably do everything. So whether the bus wanted to do it or not, the student pressed the button, it definitely didn't have a choice in the matter. It may be able to do things on its own. I don't know. but I want to try something. Miss Frizzle, I need you and all your students to get off the bus. I want to try something. The Lugia exhales a long, slow stream of silvery mist from his nostrils, signaling his reluctant acceptance of your plan. He knows you gently with his snout, a silent gesture of support. I trust your wisdom above all, Father. Blaze and Ruby exchange glances, their wings folding tight against their sides as they retreat to a respectful distance, though their eyes remain fixated on the bus like molten gold. Liz lowers herself completely to the ground, making herself as non-threatening as a creature of her impossible size can be. "I'll wait, Great One," she rumbles softly. "I'll hold my anger as you ask. I trust you." Miss Frizzle nods solemnly. "A wise assessment, little one. A vessel is only as controlled as its pilot or its passengers." She turns to the children, her voice firm but encouraging. "All right, class, everyone out. Slowly and carefully. Let's show our new friend that we respect his wishes." The students file out of the bus, their legs shaking. Arnold, the boy who pressed the button, walks out last, his head hanging low in shame. As each child steps onto the grass, the bus itself seems to sigh a long, mechanical wheeze that sounds like air escaping a tire, as if the vehicle is relieved to be emptied of the tension. Once everyone is standing in a loose group on the grass, several yards away from the yellow vehicle, a heavy silence sails over the clearing. The bus stands alone now, its headlights dimming to a soft, uncertain glow, its engine idling with a hesitant rhythm that sounds almost like a frightened heartbeat. Miss Riddle stands at the front of her class, looking at you with undisguised curiosity. "We are all out, as you requested, Tiny Dino. The bus is empty. What is it you wish to try?" Willie steps closer to you, his massive form casting a protective shadow over your tiny frame. "Speak, Father," he whispers, his voice a low vibration. "What is this plan that requires the separation of the soul from its shell?" Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys, and since I have a way that we can all resolve this, but I just want to show everybody something. Before saying anything, I turn to Liz one more time and say, "Liz, don't be afraid for what I'm about to do. I just want to show you that the bus itself didn't do this on purpose." After saying this, I turned to the bus and said, "First off, again, remember how scared the bus originally was of Liz? If the bus really wanted to do something like this to her on purpose, and it can eventually transform into anything, it would have done something a lot worse to her, even when nobody was inside of it. Watch." And as I walk a step closer to the bus and calmly say, "Hey, bus, transform into a massive scary dinosaur real quick, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or a Carnotaurus, like me, but a lot bigger." The entire clearing goes deathly silent as you issue your command. Even the wind seems to stop rustling through the trees. Miss Frizzle gasps, clutching her hands to her chest, while the students freeze in place, their eyes wide with terror at the idea of their beloved bus turning into a predator. Ain't that exactly what it does? I like how it says that despite in one episode, that one Christmas episode, the bus basically became evil in a way for a lot of the episode because they like the recycling thing kept disappearing and all that stuff because of the bus like going out of control or whatever. And like the same thing for that. I think there was an episode where like the bus itself, like I know it was that one bad episode where it turned into a bat and like couldn't completely be controlled the way it was, everybody wanted it to be. I don't remember what it was, which ones it was, but so the Lugia tenses, his silver scales catching the light as he prepares to intervene if the bus responds with aggression. He holds back, sensing a divine authority in your voice. Liz holds her breath, her massive head tilted forward, watching with desperate hope and curiosity. For several heartbeats, nothing happens. Then the bus begins to shudder. It starts as a low rumble in the engine, not the panicked whimper from before, but something deeper, more resonant. The yellow paint seems to ripple like water, and the metal framework begins to groan and stretch with an impossible, grinding sound. The students scream and scramble backwards. The familiar shape of the vehicle begins to warp and distort. The wheels fold inward, transforming into powerful scaled legs. The chassis seems stretches upward, bang with the sound of rending steel and magical energy. The windows melt into dark reptilian eyes. Oh, that's kind of creepy. And the front bumper splits apart to form a massive, gaping maw lined with rows of gleaming teeth. Within seconds, where the yellow school bus that once stood, there now looms a colossal mechanical Tyrannosaurus Rex. Its scales are the familiar bright school bus yellow, but they possess the texture of reinforced steel. The headlights serve as glowing amber eyes that burn with intelligence, and the engine's roar has become a thunderous metallic bellow that shakes the very foundation of the earth. The mechanical beast lets out a roar that echoes through the valley, a sound that combines the screech of grinding gears with the primal cry of a predator. But as it finishes its roar, it doesn't attack. Instead, it lowers its massive yellow-plated head towards you, its engine purring with a sound that is unmistakably apologetic and submissive. It nuzzles towards your tiny form, its mechanical breath warm and smelling faintly of diesel and magic. Liz stares up at the yellow dinosaur, her jaw dropping. It it did it, she whispered, her voice full of wonder. It obeyed you. Miss Riddle stumbles forward, tears streaming down her face. Uh, oh, my bus! You really are capable of anything, aren't you? The Lugia steps forward, studying the mechanical titan with genuine respect. Impressive, he rumbles, his silver eyes narrowing. A creature of metal and magic that understands its own power. It did not attack Liz. It showed its nature. Students stare in stunned silence at the yellow T-Rex that was once their ride. The boy Arnold looks up at the massive machine, tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry, boss, he sobs. I'm sorry I made you do something bad. The mechanical dinosaur turns its glowing amber eyes toward Liz, then back to you, waiting for your next move. The proof is undeniable. The bus has agency, but it also has a conscience. Alright, guys, give me a moment. I said, give me a moment. Alright, guys, this will probably be the last one right here. Is after seeing the bus transform and even try to nuzzle me, I very carefully walk up to it and gently nuzzle back before rubbing it with my tiny golden claw. And it says, this right here is proof enough. As I turn back to Liz, it says, Liz, if the bus itself hated you, it would have done a lot more to try to hurt you when nobody was around. And this right here proves it. Because if it can transform without anybody pressing a button, it could have easily turned into this dinosaur and easily killed you or ate you when you were tinier. As you nuzzle the massive yellow T-Rex, the mechanical beast emits a sound that can only be described as a satisfied purr, a harmonic vibration of gears and engines that resonates through the ground. When your golden claw rubs against its metal scales, the bus's amber headlights pulse softly, like a creature feeling genuine affection. Turning to face Liz, your words carry the weight of undeniable truth. Liz stands frozen, her massive reptilian eyes darting between you and the mechanical titan before you. The realization hits her like a physical wave. She looks at the yellow T-Rex, a creature that could have crushed her own bones or devoured her without a second thought, and sees instead a being that's nuzzling you with gentleness. You're right, Liz whispers, her voice cracking with emotion. I I was so angry. I couldn't see it. I assumed it was an enemy because it caused my pain. A large tear rolls down her snout. But it wasn't the bus that attacked me. It was it was a mistake. A mistake made by those who didn't understand what they were touching. She lowers her head until it nearly touches the ground in a gesture of profound humility. Thank you, Great One. Thank you for showing me the truth. I was ready to hate something that never truly wanted to hurt me. The Lugia steps beside you, placing a protective wing near your small form. Wisdom, he rumbles, his voice heavy with pride. You have not only shown mercy to the innocent, but you have prevented a war between flesh and metal. You have seen past the surface of anger to the heart beneath. Miss Rizzo approaches slowly, wiping her eyes. You've done something extraordinary, Tiny Dino. You've given us and the bus a chance at redemption. The bus, still in its massive Tyrannosaurus Rex form, shifts its weight. It turns its head toward Liz, its amber eyes glowing softly. Then, with a series of deliberate mechanical clicks and whirs, it transforms again, not into a weapon, but back into its original yellow bus form, but with one change. It has grown a small, friendly smile on its front bumper. It honks its horn twice, a cheerful musical sound as if saying, "I'm sorry." Arnold steps forward, still shaky but brave. "We're sorry, Liz," he calls up to the colossal dinosaur. "We didn't know. We'll never touch the buttons without asking again. We promise." Tension that had threatened to tear the forest apart has evaporated, replaced by a fragile but genuine sense of understanding. That clearing is no longer a battlefield. It has become a place of reconciliation. Alright, guys. I'm probably going to go and end it off there, but just because I want to continue a bit longer. Alright, guys. This is definitely the last one I'm going to do. It said, "When I see all of this happen, I smile and nod. That's why I need to know if the bus was alive or not. Because if it wasn't, it really hated Liz that badly, it could have done something way worse way sooner. Honestly, the bus itself seems to be really friendly, and it didn't nuzzle me when it was that massive dinosaur. I'm glad it did." After saying this, I look at Liz again. "Liz, you see exactly what I'm talking about now. But I know you were angry about what happened, so I'll leave it up to you. Do you think that the student that turned you into this should be punished or not? If you say yes, I'll give a punishment that suits what happened to you." A heavy silence falls over the clearing as the question hangs in the air. Everyone, Miss Frizzle, the trembling students, the Lugia, and even the mechanical bus turns their attention toward Liz. The power of judgment has been placed in her hands, and the weight of that responsibility is visible in the way she shifts her massive weight. Liz looks down at Arnold, the young boy who had confessed his mistake. He looks small, fragile, and genuinely terrified beneath the shadow of her colossal form. She sees his tear-stained face and the way his hands shake. Then she looks at you, her eyes full of respect for the way you handled this delicate situation. She considers for a long moment, her tail twitching slowly behind her. Finally, she speaks, her voice no longer a threatening rumble, but a deep, thoughtful sound that carries across the meadow. "When I was alone, terrified, and changed into something I didn't recognize, I wanted to hurt everything that reminded me of what I lost," Liz admitted honestly. "I wanted to roar at everyone and drive them away. I wanted punishment." She steps closer to Arnold, not to intimidate him, but to look him directly in the eyes. "But the Great One showed me that anger blinds us. If I punish you simply because I am hurting, I'm no better than the accident that hurt me." She turns back to you. "I do not want him to suffer. That would not bring my old self. But," she paused, a clever light flickering in her eyes, "I do believe there should be an acknowledgment of what happened, a lesson learned." Liz looks at Miss Riddle. "Professor, if this student is to learn the importance of responsibility and the consequences of curiosity without caution, perhaps his punishment should be educational rather than painful." She then looks at you with a hopeful expression. "Great One, instead of pain, perhaps his punishment could be to help us, to use his hands and his mind to help restore what was broken, or to help care for. Wait, we're hopeful. Instead of pain, perhaps his punishment could be to help us, use his hands and his mind to help restore what was broken, or to help care for Liz in this new form until she feels fully at home here. Let his presence be service, not suffering." The Lugia nods approvingly, his silver scales gleaming. "A judgment of growth rather than destruction. Truly, Father, your influence teaches even the most wounded hearts to seek balance." Arnold wipes his eyes, looking relieved but determined. "I'll do it. I'll help however I can, Liz. I promise." Miss Frizzle smiles warmly. "I think that's a wonderful idea, Liz. Learning through action and responsibility. That's exactly what education should be about. The bus honks twice in agreement, taillights twinkling. Crisis past, and its place, a new kind of bond is forming between two different worlds. Alright, guys, one more real quickly. Alright, guys, depending on what Liz says here for her decision, depends on whether I end this video now or after the next one, most likely. It says, I just tell him, okay, Liz, now that everything is settled, I promised I would help you once everything was resolved. I've got a little surprise for you. If you want it, I could turn you back into your little lizard self if that's what you want. Or if you want to stay as the dinosaur, it don't matter to me. The entire clearing goes silent. Miss Frizzle gasps, her hand flying to her mouth, while the students exchange glances of pure disbelief. Even the Lugia tilts his head, his silver eyes widening. I don't want he'd be the one, 'cause he's flipping the one that gave me the valor we left. That someone, especially someone as small as you, could reverse such a profound magical transformation is staggering. Liz freezes mid-step, her massive tail stops swaying, and her pupils dilate until her eyes are almost entirely black. For a moment she looks like a statue carved from prehistoric stone. The offer hangs between you like a shimmering thread of possibility. You you could? She whispers, her voice barely audible. You could restore what was taken? You could make me smile again? She looks down at her enormous, scaled limbs. She looks at the way her weight cracks the earth beneath her. Then she looks at the bus, the strange magical machine that has become a friend. Finally she looks at the Lugia and the dragons, recognizing the power that surrounds you. I have been so lost in this body, Liz admits, her voice heavy with emotion. I have been so afraid of my own strength and the way I frighten others. I missed being able to climb on shoulders, to sit on a desk, to feel ordinary. She takes a shaky breath, her massive chest expanding. But I have also found something here. I have found protection. I have found respect. I have found you. She kneels before you, bring her enormous snout close enough that you can feel the warm, steady rhythm of her breath. Her expression is one of profound vulnerability. Great One, she murmurs, I'd give anything to feel like myself again. To not feel like a monster walking through a world made of glass. But, she hesitates, looking back at the forest and the Lugia, if I become small again, will I still be able to stay here? Will I still be able to be your friend and walk beside you? Lee steps forward, his presence calming and absolute. The form matters not to the soul, Liz. Whether you are a mountain of scales or a pebble in the grass, you have proven your heart to be worthy of this realm. If the Father grants you your true form, you shall remain under our protection. Liz's eyes brighten with hope. Then yes, she says, a watery smile spreading across her reptilian features. Yes, please, I want to be Liz again. I want to see the world through small eyes once more, or one more time. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, this is the last one. This is when I hear Liz say that, I nod my head and say, okay, Liz, your wish is my command. Divine power, we're not stuck in a blizzard. Please turn Liz back into that little lizard. And then snap my tiny golden claws. As your tiny golden claws snap together, the sound isn't a click. It's a thunderclap that echoes across the entire valley. A shockwave of pure golden light erupts from your small frame, spreading outward like ripples in a pond. The light catches the air, turning the oxygen itself into shimmering particles of gold that swirl around Liz's massive form. Two guardian dragons bow their heads low as the divine energy washes over them, and even Blaze and Ruby lower their flames in reverence to the raw power you've unleashed. One of the two guardian dragons was them, so it's like, is that a confusing? I hope I didn't mess up. Liz's massive body begins to glow with an intense pearlescent radiance. To the students watching from the bus, it looks like she is being swallowed by a star. Her enormous frame begins to contract, the impossible weight of her bones and muscles seeming to dissolve into light. The ground stops shaking as her immense mass rapidly diminishes. The deep rumbling sounds of her breathing sharpen into something lighter, quicker, and more familiar. The golden light intensifies until it's blinding. The zone collapses inward with a soft pop, like a bubble bursting. As the light fades and the golden particles drift slowly to the ground like snow, the clearing is silent. Where the colossal dinosaur once stood, there is now only a small patch of disturbed grass. Liz? Liz? Miss Frizzle whispers, stepping cautiously toward the spot. A small movement catches everyone's eye. From beneath the shadow of a nearby fern, a familiar green head pokes out. Liz, the real Liz, the clever, intelligent lizard, scrambles forward onto the grass. She's small enough to fit in the palm of a hand. Her scales smooth and bright, her eyes bright with intelligence and recognition. She stops in front of you, blinking rapidly as she adjusts to her new perspective. She looks up, way up at your tiny form, then at the towering Lugia, and finally at the students. I'm, I'm me again, she squeaks, her voice tiny but unmistakably full of joy. She's going up your leg with practiced agility, climbing until she reaches your shoulder. She nuzzles against your cheek with her small head, a gesture of pure, uncomplicated affection. Thank you, Great One. Thank you so much. The students erupt into cheers and applause, their fear completely replaced by wonder. All runs up to the edge of the grass, grinning through his tears. You did it! You actually did it! Lugia moves closer, his massive silver head lowering until his eye level with you and the tiny Liz on your shoulder. The balance is restored, he rumbles approvingly. The monster has become the friend, and the friend has been returned to herself. Your power is as merciful as it is absolute, Father. The bus honks a triumphant musical melody, its headlights flashing rapidly like it's celebrating the miracle. Liz settles comfortably against your neck, looking out at the vibrant world she once feared, now knowing she has the most powerful protector in existence by her side. Alright, guys, now I'm done. The video's been way too long.